Gaur Keshav Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada says something in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, 1st chapter, verse number 27.
One should be fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna 24 hours a day. There are many devotees in Rag Marg, which is exhibited in Vrindavan, whether in Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, or Madhurya Ras. All the devotees of Krishna are always overwhelmed by thoughts of Krishna.
So this is what Srila Prabhupada says. One should be fully absorbed in thoughts of Sri Krishna 24 hours a day. And this is a repetition of what Sri Rupa Goswami has said. Smartavyaha satatam Vishnur vismartavyona jatuchit. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And he says there are many devotees on the path of Raga Bhakti, and this Bhakti is exhibited in Sri Vrindavan. And irrespective of the rasa one has, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya or Madhurya, all of us are supposed to be overwhelmed. Not just think about Krishna, but be overwhelmed by thoughts of Sri Krishna. So it's very simple. In the 7th canto, Srila Prabhupada has very clearly mentioned about rasa. But dear devotees, we need to understand what is rasa, what is Bhakti Rasa. And there is a very nice Subhashita, very nice wisdom quote in the Sanskrit literature by which we can begin our presentation of understanding rasa. Dear devotees, this samsara is compared to a bitter tree, and the verse describes this material world as follows. Please repeat after me. Samsara kadu vrakshasya dve phale yamrutopame kavyamrita rasa svada sangati sujanai saha. Samsara katu vrikshasya. Samsar, material world, is like a bitter tree. Dear devotees, can you name the most popular bitter tree that you have heard of? Neem. Wonderful, dear devotees. Dve phale hi amritopame. But surprising, two nectar-like fruits have grown on the bitter neem tree of the material world. Dear devotees, does it happen that sweet fruits grow on the bitter neem tree? So dear devotees, recently they started growing mangoes on neem tree. Alright? So it is possible that you can grow mangoes on a neem tree. So many experiments were done and they succeeded in growing a mango on a neem tree, which made the Subhashit come true. The verse has come true. So samsara katu vrikshasya dve phale hi amritopame. The two nectarian mango-like fruits have grown on the bitter neem tree of the material world. What is the first one? Kavya amrita rasa aswadaha. Relishment of nectarian rasa of poetry. And second is sangatihi sujanai saha. Association of saintly souls. After going through all the struggles in the material world, a person finally comes to realize that the essential happiness in this world can be distilled in one term. And dear devotees, please repeat that term after me. Rasa. Rasa. Some people say all humans want happiness. How many of you agree all of us want happiness? Please raise your hands. But that is not the case. One of the literal meanings of rasa is also juice. Rasa also can mean juice. And all of you, dear devotees, might have different preferences in the juices that you would like to drink. How many of you like mango juice? Please raise your hands. Oh, wonderful. So, Gaurahari Prabhu, you and me are friends, So I'll make a deal with you, Prabhu. Every day for 1 month, I'll supply unlimited mango juice to you. But you cannot drink any other juice. Only mango juice. And every day, 2 liters. Will you feel the same happiness on the final day as you felt on the first day? Then you'd like to change flavors. So Prabhu, what juice after mango juice?
Orange.
See, he likes sour fruit. Dear devotees. So it's not always about happiness. Rasa means a variety of emotions should come to us at the right time. That is what rasa actually means. Sometimes we want to feel sad. We want to feel sad, and that sadness is what gives us happiness. And this, dear devotees, is what rasa is all about. It is about variegated emotions that a jiva wishes to relish from time to time. Therefore, the Shastra specifies, in the Upanishads it is specified, that rasa is the ultimate hankering of the living entity, not happiness. The ultimate hankering, dear devotees, is rasa.
Ananda.
Ananda is a byproduct of experiencing rasa. For example, in the material world, you might have seen people who sing mundane songs, sing songs of two types: songs of union and songs of separation. Can you tell me which songs are appreciated more? But separation is painful. But after relishing that separation, the ultimate experience is ananda. One experiences joy. So dear devotees, sometimes we wish to experience separation, sometimes songs of union, sometimes songs of happiness, sometimes songs of sadness. All of this leads to experience of what the previous authorities have called rasa. Please repeat after me. In the Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, it is said, Raso vaisaha rasam hi evayam labdva anandi bhavati.
He indeed is rasa. Only by attaining rasa does the living entity become truly joyous.
So he, Bhagavan, indeed is made out of which substance? Rasa. Therefore, in the beginning of the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the first term that Sri Rupa Goswami uses to denote Sri Krishna is Akhila Rasa Amrita Murti. He is the personification of all joyous nectarian rasas. Bhagavan's body is composed of one particular substance, and that substance is rasa. In the Shastra, it is also said that the jiva's body is also described, the Atma is also described as rasa in many places in Shastra. So the Atma also is hankering for rasa, and Sri Krishna himself is also rasa personified. Therefore, only on attaining rasa, Sri Krishna, does the jiva finally become happy. Usually, rasa can be translated in three ways. Sometimes it is translated as mellow, or as flavor, or as juice. You take an unhappy person, you give him juice, and the end result is you have a happy person, dear devotees. So, this juice, this mellow, this rasa, is that happiness which a person experiences within the heart when they undergo an experience which is out of this world. You can also call rasa as supramundane joy. And in the Sanskrit literature, it is said, please repeat after me, rasyate, asvadyate, iti rasaha. So that which is tasted is called as rasa. For example, you take juice and then you drink juice. So what are you tasting? Juice. So that juice itself is called as rasa. But after tasting the juice, you experience something. What do you experience? Happiness. And that happiness also is termed as rasa. There are two things termed as rasa, dear devotees. The substance that gives you happiness and the experience of happiness. Both of them are termed as rasa. But in general, the happiness that we experience by experiencing something which is very close to our heart can be called as rasa. I'll give you an example of this. Please hear this example carefully. In my childhood, my father would take me to various dramas, theatre, and one of those dramas was the drama of Sri Ramayana. And in that drama, I remember a particular scene very well, in which Bharat, the brother of Bhagwan Ram, he comes to know that Sri Ram has been banished to the forest for how many years? 14 years. And all of this has happened behind his back. And after Ram has been banished, King Dashrath is also dead. Dear devotees, Bharat decides to go to the forest to trace Bhagwan Ram and to bring him back to the kingdom so that Bhagwan Ram can rule the kingdom. And dear devotees, the scene was shown in front of me where Bharat arrives in the forest and all the mothers are there crying. And then Bharat tells Bhagwan Ram, convinces him using various reasons, but Bhagwan Ram says, no, I will not come back. But Bharat is determined that Bhagwan Ram should rule the kingdom, so Bharat takes the footwear of Bhagwan Ram and Bharat puts the footwear on his head. And dear devotees, the moment Bharat turns back towards Ayodhya is a very emotional moment, because that is the moment when all the residents of Ayodhya realize that Bhagwan Ram will not come back for 14 years. So the moment this happened, many people in the audience started crying, because they understood that Bhagwan Ram is not going to come back for 14 years. And when they started crying, dear devotees, the drama was very nice, everyone went home. And I ended up saying something to my father, it was very nice, we should watch it again. But dear devotees, was it happiness or sadness?
Rasa.
Yeah. So my dear friend Jai Jagannath Prabhu gives the precise answer. What was it, dear devotees? Rasa. Rasa has the capability of turning sad events into supremely joyous events. That is what rasa does. And in the Western world, there is an approximate term for it, and it is called catharsis. You can see on the screen. How is catharsis defined? It is defined as a release or reliving of emotions, especially through drama or art. So, a rough equivalent of rasa can be catharsis, that is present in the English language. So when a person looks at drama or when a person hears poetry, they are able to associate with a particular character in the drama or in the poetry, and because of becoming one in heart with that character, the emotions that the character is experiencing are also experienced by this like-minded, like-hearted person. And there is a technical term for that. It is called sadharanikaran, generalization of emotions passed from the actor to the audience. And this gives a cathartic experience which is also supramundane. Dear devotees, even rasa in the material world, in material dramas, is not material. The authors who have defined rasa have said that rasa, even in the material world, is actually not a product of the material world. In the Sahitya Darpan, Acharya Shri Vishwanath Kaviraj, he is different from Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Shri Vishwanath Kaviraj says, please repeat after me. Vedyantara sparsha shunyo Brahmananda sahodaraha. When you experience rasa, you become one with that character completely. Vedya antara sparsha shunyo. All other feelings become shunya for you. You do not experience anything at that point of time. And usually this happens when one is watching a live performance, a drama, or one is hearing some poetry. And all the other feelings within the heart are sidelined, and you get to experience that feeling of rasa, divine supramundane happiness, and Brahmananda Sahodara. It is the sibling of the joy of merging in the impersonal Brahman. dear devotees. This is rasa in the material world. We have not yet gone to Bhakti Rasa. So even rasa in the material world gives you an experience which allows you to transcend the material world for the time being. Of course, after some time you come back in the material world and then you continue to live your life as usual. But even material rasa is not technically material. The previous authorities have said that it is a supra-mundane experience. Dear devotees, therefore, poets have further elaborated upon it. Please repeat after me. Chaturvarga phalasvadam apyatikramya tadvidam kavyamritarasenanta chamatkaro vidhiyate. Chaturvarga. Dear devotees, there are 4 goals of human form of life. Can anyone tell me what are the 4 goals of human form of life? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and finally it is Moksha. Chaturvarga phala aswadam api atikramya. Rasa surpasses even the joy of all the 4 goals of life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and it can also surpass Moksha. And it generates Antas Chamatkara. It generates the feeling of wonder within the heart. You know when you are experiencing rasa when the heart says, wow. I hope you are able to understand. One characteristic of experiencing any rasa is the heart should have one feeling. What is that feeling, dear devotees? Wow. So that is called Chamatkar. And Sri Kavi Karnapur says in Alankar Kaustubh, Yam vinana raso rasa. The rasa is not rasa if Chamatkar, wow, is not present within it. Therefore, you will know that you are experiencing rasa when you have 3 experiences. First, you feel completely disconnected from your immediate reality. Second, you feel absolutely invested in the subject matter being described. And third, there is a feeling in your heart. Which feeling, dear devotees? Wow. Very simple. Therefore, dear devotees, this experience of rasa is the highest experience that a living entity can have in the material world. And how many of us would like to have an experience of rasa? Please raise your hands. Dear devotees, after narrating all the subject matters of the world in 17 Puranas, the author Sri Vyasadeva was not satisfied at all. And one of the Puranas is Agni Puran. And in the Agni Puran, all the material rasas were described. There is a complete description of all the material rasas in the Agni Puran. Sri Vyasadeva described it, but even after that, Sri Vyasadeva was dissatisfied because Sri Vyasadeva had not described one particular rasa. And which rasa is that, dear devotees? Bhakti Rasa. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam specifically was aimed at this particular rasa. In the very 3rd verse of the Bhagavatam, Sri Vyasadeva makes it absolutely clear to us in the following verse. The meter of the verse is Dhruta Vilambitam. Kindly sing after me. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Shukamukhadamritadrava samyutam Pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka So I have highlighted 2 terms there, dear devotees. What is the first term? Bhagavatam Rasam. Bhagavat means related to Bhagavan. So which ras? That ras which is related to Bhagavan, and that ras is no other ras but Bhakti Ras. And Muhuraho Rasika. And the ideal candidate for relishing the Srimad Bhagavatam is a Rasik. Rasik means someone who is a connoisseur and expert in the art of relishing Bhakti Ras. Dear devotees, you can have, how many of you have seen a jackfruit? Please raise your hands. And how many of you have extracted the fruit of a jackfruit? See, very few are there who have taken the trouble to extract the fruit, ripened fruit of a jackfruit. It's not so easy because there is that thick skin, then you tear it apart and then it's all sticky inside. Then you use your hands and you sometimes you have to use coconut oil and you use your hands to carefully extract the flesh of the jackfruit, and then you also have to put the seeds out, and then finally what you have is that ripened jackfruit, and that ripened jackfruit actually gives you one thing in your heart. What does it give you?
Dāsa.
Rasa. Now you understood, dear devotees. But it's not so easy. There is a culture of extracting rasa. And the first time a person comes in contact with a jackfruit is not going to be easy for them, because they don't have the culture, the previous samskar of extracting rasa from a jackfruit. And therefore some amount of practice is needed and some amount of guidance is needed from previous experts. Then one can easily extract the soft flesh of the jackfruit and experience rasa. Because rasa has two meanings. One is bhojan rasa, food rasa, and one is bhakti rasa, rasa of the heart. Both are denoted using the term rasa. This is the translation. Prabhu, kindly read.
O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls.
So you can see nectarian juice there in the second last line. So what is the Sanskrit equivalent of nectarian juice? Rasa. Alright, so this is what the Srimad Bhagavatam is all about. And therefore, dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami took this most fundamental point from the Srimad Bhagavatam and dedicated his magnum opus. What is the magnum opus of Srila Rupa Goswami? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, to this particular topic of rasa. In the beginning of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami very clearly says that this book is not merely a presentation of bhakti, it is a presentation of bhakti rasa. And this is the verse in the meter Arya that he composes. Arya is a very auspicious meter, slightly difficult to sing. I'll sing it, please repeat after me. Bhakti rasasya prastutir, Bhakti rasasya prastutir, Akhila jagan mangala prasangasya, Akhila jagan mangala prasangasya, Agyenapi mayasya, Agyenapi mayasya, Kriyate suhridam pramodaya, Kriyate suhridam pramodaya. Prastuti. Prastuti means this is a presentation. Presentation of what? Bhakti rasasya. This is a presentation of bhakti rasa. Very clear. And Akhila Jagan Mangala Prasangasya. It has all auspicious narrations of Shri Krishna, who is Jagan Mangala Prasanga, who is all auspicious for the entire world. Agyenapi. Although I am Agya. Dear devotees, does anybody know what is the meaning of Agya? Ignorant. Sri Rupa Goswami calls himself ignorant in the beginning of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sri Jiva Goswami says Saraswati Devi cannot tolerate this. Therefore, another meaning has to be derived of agya. So please repeat after me the new meaning of agya. Na, gyo, yasmat. A means there is no gya, learned person as compared to him. Dear devotees, that is agya. I would like to say we can have another meaning. Would you like to have another meaning, dear devotees? Yes? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, Aksharanam akarosmi. Amongst all the syllables, I am the syllable A. So, A refers to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So, please repeat, Krishnam, Janati. One who knows A, one who knows Krishna is Agya, dear devotees. So, there are two meanings of the term Agya and they fit Srila Rupa Goswami. There is nobody who knows greater than him and he is the one who knows A. And what is A, dear devotees? Krishna. Because Krishna says in the Gita, amongst all the syllables, I am the syllable A. So, Agya napi mayasi. Although I am Agya, so we'll take his intended meaning, although I am ignorant. But I have written this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Suhridam Pramodaya, for the joy of my near and dear ones. Please tell me, dear devotees, who are the near and dear ones of Srila Rupa Goswami? Alright. Wonderful, Prabhu. Who are they? Followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all followers are automatically expected to be Rasika. Dear devotees, how many of us are belonging to the family of Sri Rupa Goswami? Please raise your hands. Oh, it was written for all of you. And all of you are here. What a wonderful coincidence, dear devotees. The intended book, the wonderful author and the wonderful audience come together at one place. This is the translation. Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
This presentation of Bhakti Rasa, replete with all auspicious narrations of Sri Krishna, has been created by an ignorant person such as myself for the joy of those who are dear to my heart.
Dear devotees, we cannot imagine the struggles that Sri Rupa Goswami has undergone to come to this point where he is composing Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. He has hidden all his struggles behind him. Just in a single verse, he expresses a little bit of his struggles. Would you like to hear about his struggles in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu? Yes. Dear devotees, because unless we understand the struggles that went behind Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, it will be very difficult for us to appreciate what Sri Rupa Goswami has given to us. Therefore, Sri Rupa Goswami has said that it has not been an easy journey for me. In the introduction, Sri Rupa Goswami says in the same meter, Arya, मीमांसक बड़वाग्ने कठिनामपि कुण्ठयन् असौ जिह्वाम् कठिनामपि कुण्ठयन् असौ जिह्वाम् स्फुरतु सनातन सुचिरम् स्फुरतु सनातन सुचिरम् तव भक्तिरसामृताम्भोधे तव भक्तिरसामृताम्भोधे. Dear devotees, the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is giving you the imagery of an ocean. In your minds, dear devotees, please think of an ocean. What keeps on depositing water in the ocean? Can you please tell me? Rivers. The main source of water in an ocean are the rivers. A question arises, why doesn't the ocean overflow if rivers constantly keep depositing waters in it? Why doesn't the ocean overflow and cross its borders? The water evaporates. But the speed of evaporation cannot be compared at all, especially in the rainy seasons, especially when there is no sun. How can you compare so much water that comes in the ocean and there is no way out for the water? Where does the water go? Of course, it evaporates, but not by the sun. Sri Rupa Goswami says, and it is well known that in the ocean there is a fire that has been burning since the beginning of time. It is called, please repeat, Badavagni. So Badavagni is a fire which is burning at the very depth of the ocean according to Shastra. This is the fire which constantly keeps water evaporating, and the water keeps the fire in check, and the fire keeps the water in check. I hope you are able to understand. In this way, the oceans never cross their intended borders. Sri Rupa Goswami says, Mimamsaka Badavagne. I know there are many Mimamsakas, critics of Bhakti Rasa. I know. And their tongues are like the tongues of this fire. Can you see the tongues of the fire, dear devotees? And they want to dry up this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. But just as the ordinary ocean keeps the fire in check, may my Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu keep the sharp tongues of these critics in check forever. This is what Sri Rupa Goswami just indirectly indicates, doesn't give the entire picture behind what is going on. So we will read the translation, Prabhu.
O Sanatana, may your Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu reign victorious for a long time, while suppressing the flamed tongues of those critics who are opposed to it.
Can there be a critic of a literature like Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which does not criticize anyone? Sri Rupa Goswami is Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridam. He has no desire to critique anyone. Can there be people who will critique Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, such a wonderful literature? Can we imagine that there will be such people? It's difficult to imagine, but dear devotees, there are, and Sri Rupa Goswami calls them through one name, Mimamsaka. There are people who are very learned in Shastra but don't agree to the principle of Bhakti Ras. Dear devotees, let us go back and understand the complete difficulty of Sri Rupa Goswami by going back into history 2500 years ago, when the concept of rasa was fully bought on planet Earth by one particular personality. His name is Bharat Muni. Sri Rupa Goswami is a devout follower of Bharat Muni, and Sri Rupa Goswami never fails to give credit to the original personality who bought the concept of rasa on this planet 2500 years ago. It was Bharat Muni who composed his Natya Shastram, and in Natya Shastram Bharat Muni gave the concept of rasa, but those rasas were not in relation to bhakti. Those rasas were in relationship to which world? Material world, especially when you watch a drama. Sri Bharat Muni's purpose was Natya. And what is the meaning of Natya, dear devotees? Drama, theatre. So, this Natya Shastram, he defines all the rasas that can be experienced in Natya. Please repeat after me. Shringara Hasya Karuna Raudra Veera Bhayanaka Bibhatsadbhuta Sangyauchet Tyashtau Natye Rasa Smrita. Natya, in a drama, there can be 8 rasas. Please repeat the names after me. Shringara. Shringar is Rasarat, the king of all rasas. What does Shringar mean, dear devotees? Romance. That is what drives the world, dear devotees. It is the king of all the rasas in drama. Dramas will fail if this rasa is not present in them. So, Shringara. Second, please repeat. Hasya. And Hasya refers to humor. Wherever Shringar is present, its near and dear friend Hasya is always there. So Hasya is the close companion of Shringar. Please repeat after me. Karuna, which is piteous. Piteous means you feel this pain in the heart. For example, Maharaj Dashrath passed away. So, anyone dies, a negative event happens, you feel Karuna Ras. The Ramayana is full of this particular rasa. In the beginning of the Ramayana, Bhagwan Ram is sent with Vishwamitra to the forest, and he has to hunt for... In the beginning, Dashrath has no sons. Karuna, he is unhappy. Then Ram is born, he is sent to the forest. Again he is unhappy. Ram comes back after marrying Sita, he is immediately banished. again unhappiness. In the forest also they are not living peacefully. Ravan comes and kidnaps Sita, again unhappiness. Sugriv is supposed to find Sita Devi. Sugriv delays it by 4 months, again unhappiness. Then Ravan is killed and then Sita Devi comes back, but then for a short time they stay together and they are separated. The entire Ramayana is filled with one rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Karuna rasa. In the Western world it is said that most of the dramas carry the central element of melancholy. And melancholy can be referred to this particular Karuna rasa. But when you experience Karuna rasa through the via medium of a drama, do you feel sad or do you feel happy?
Rasa.
See, it's a very difficult question to answer, isn't it? The final experience, how do you say? It was good or it was bad? It was good. So finally, even through the via medium of rasa, even unhappiness turns into happiness. And the acharyas of Natya, the acharyas of drama, give an example. They say usually when a person hits you, usually when a person slaps you in the face, what do you feel? Happiness or unhappiness? Unhappiness. But when it is a beloved person who slaps you in the face, what do you feel? So dear devotees, the acharyas give this wonderful example because this example proves the point that when experienced through the via medium of a drama, what you feel, even the most unhappy events turn into happiness. This is Karuna. Please repeat fourth. Raudra. Raudra refers to anger. Fifth is Veera. Veera is chivalry. You hear of the great kings who sacrificed their lives for the nation, etc. You have a drama centered around that. So the emotion that the audience is supposed to experience is Veera. Next is Bhayanaka. Horror. Some people are rasikas of Bhayanaka. Some people love this particular rasa, Bhayanak rasa. They love to be shocked by certain unpredictable events. Seventh, Bibhatsa. This is disgust. Disgust is mainly in relation to the material world, how it is a filthy place full of putrid substances. Eighth is, please repeat, Adbhuta. And the central element of all of it. What is the meaning of Adbhuta? Wow. Wonder, dear devotees. These are the 8 rasas which are experienced only in one place, in drama. And in which world are they experienced? In the material world. Commenting upon this, dear devotees, Bharat Muni did not speak at all about Bhakti Rasa. Did not speak at all. Because his aim was not to explain Bhakti, his aim was to explain Natya. And what is Natya, dear devotees? Drama. So his aim was to explain drama. So his book was not meant for Bhakti. The commentator on Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra is the 10th century famous commentator from Kashmir. His name is Abhinav Gupta. Abhinav Gupta slightly disagreed with Bharat Muni because Bharat Muni said how many rasas? 8. Abhinav Gupta says no. Please repeat. Techa Nava Shanta Palapina Tu Ashtaviti Tatra Pathanti. Number of rasas is not 8. Number of rasas is 9. We have to add another rasa which does not belong to a drama. And this rasa is experienced when you finally get liberated and merge with the impersonal. And what rasa is that, dear devotees? Shanta. But you cannot portray this rasa in a drama. Therefore, Bharat Muni did not include it amongst the 8 rasas. How can you portray merging in the impersonal Brahman in a drama? It's not possible. So there is also a happiness outside of drama which is experienced when you attain final liberation. And since Abhinav Gupta belonged to the impersonal school, Kashmir Shaivism of Bhagavan Shiva, therefore he said there has to be a 9th rasa, and that 9th rasa has to be which rasa? Shanta rasa. The commentator slightly disagrees with the original author. And you can see here, what is the ultimate goal of life for Abhinav Gupta? Moksha. And Shanta rasa is helpful for attaining moksha. And bhakti is not a rasa. Abhinav Gupta says bhakti is a stepping stone. that you can use to attain the final goal. What is the final goal, dear devotees, for him? Moksha. So is this a personal understanding or an impersonal understanding? Impersonal understanding, where bhakti is used as a means to attain the final goal, that is moksha, impersonal liberation, and in moksha you experience that shanta rasa, and therefore bhakti cannot be considered as a separate rasa. Are all of you happy? No. You can see the struggles of Sri Rupa Goswami. The only available commentator on the Natya Shastra has not accepted bhakti as a rasa. And then out of a blue, if Rupa Goswami comes and says, no, bhakti is a rasa, what do you expect the other scholars to say to him? No. Yeah, no, obviously not. Abhinav Gupta says bhakti is not a rasa. Bharat Muni doesn't include bhakti as a rasa. Who are you to say bhakti is a rasa, dear devotees? This is what the other scholars will say. Therefore, the other acharyas followed Abhinav Gupta verbatim as it is. For example, the famous Kashmiri acharya Mammat. Mammat is the author of the famous literature Kavya Prakash. This literature is mentioned even in the Chaitanya Charitamritam. It is the de facto literature for understanding poetics. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Rupa Goswami, all the 6 Goswamis understood this literature very well. The name of the literature is Kavya Prakash. If someone understands this literature, they will understand Sanskrit poetics very well. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada also quotes often from Kavya Prakash in his commentaries on Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, Acharya Mammat also agreed to Abhinav Gupta and said there are total how many rasas by now, dear devotees? 9. Sri Jayadev, who was born in Western India in the 12th century, also agrees to this and does not add anything. In the 13th century came Vishwanath Kaviraj and said, I have another ras to add besides 9. Dear devotees, which rasa did he want to add? Vatsalya. Vatsalya, Vatsasya bhavam Vatsalyam. The feeling of nurturing a calf is Vatsalya. So the feeling that a cow has towards her calf is Vatsalya. This feeling is seen between parents and children. So Vishwanath Kaviraj said, besides Shantaras, there is another ras which is Vatsalya. So now we are with how many rasas, dear devotees? 10 rasas. Another, in the 15th century, Bhanudat Mishra came and said, besides these rasas, there is another rasa, and he called it, please repeat, Maya rasa. What is Maya rasa? Because Abhinav Gupta said Shanta rasa. Shanta means when you have annihilated the material world and are situated in oneness with Brahman. So the extreme opposite of that, when you are fully immersed in Maya and enjoying yourself, that also has to be a rasa. And that rasa, dear devotees, is known as which rasa? Maya.
That is also Yada Ras.
Huh?
Yada Ras is the same.
Which rasa?
Yada Ras.
I'm not sure, but at least he called it Maya rasa. You are fully drenched in Maya and you are happy. Rinam kritva ghritam pibet yavat jivet sukham jivet. As long as you live, fry your puris in ghee and eat nicely. Take a loan if required, but purchase good quality ghee. Alright? Huh? Because after you die, you don't know whether what is going to happen. So might as well live your life to the fullest potential of material enjoyment. So Maya Ras. Dear devotees, this is Bhanudat Mishra. But in the 16th century, this was after Sri Rupa Goswami, came a very great scholar named Pandit Raj Jagannath, who composed a literature named Rasa Gangadhar. In Rasa Gangadhar, he said he wanted to acknowledge bhakti as rasa, but due to respect of previous acharyas, he said bhakti is not any rasa. But Abhinav Gupta says bhakti can be included in Shanta rasa. Which rasa, dear devotees? Shanta. You can use bhakti as a stepping stone to achieve which rasa? Shanta rasa, according to Abhinav Gupta. Pandit Raj Jagannath disagrees with Abhinav Gupta and says Shanta ras is about detachment. Bhakti is about attachment. I hope you are able to understand. Shanta ras is about detachment. Bhakti is about attachment. I can never consider bhakti within Shantaras. Then what is bhakti? Please tell me, Pandit Raj Jagannath, what is bhakti? Then he says bhakti is a bhav. What is bhakti? Bhav. What is the meaning of bhav? It arises temporarily and it disappears. There is nothing permanent about it. Yeah, it's a wave. It arises temporarily, it reaches a peak point and then it goes back. It arises temporarily, reaches a peak point and it goes down. That is what you can call bhakti. Don't consider bhakti as a ras. Are all of you happy? No. Therefore, dear devotees, so many acharyas are against bhakti as a ras. We will need a good amount of acharyas who are in favor of bhakti as a ras. So please say loud Hari Bol to the acharyas who are going to come and support bhakti ras, dear devotees. The first acharya I have already given. Who is the first acharya who gave bhakti as a ras? Sri Vyasadeva in the 3rd verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Alright? We already have Sri Vyasadeva who said, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam. So Sri Vyasadeva's support is already there, so don't worry, dear devotees. But other acharyas who will clearly denote bhakti as a rasa, the first known acharya in history to write a big thesis upon the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 9th century in the western part of India appears Sri Vopadev. 13th century in India appears Sri Vopadev. And Sri Vopadev reorganizes the Srimad Bhagavatam topic wise. What you see nowadays in the 6 Sandarbhas was originally done in the 13th century by a Vaishnava from Maharashtra. His name was Sri Vopadev. He composes his Mukta Phalam, his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. He rearranges the verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam as we see in the Sandarbhas today. And he is the first personality to give the following conclusion to us. Please repeat after me. Bhakti rasasyaiva hasya shringara karuna raudra bhayanaka bibhatsa shantadbhuta veera rupena anubhavat. He says it is bhakti ras that is experienced by the devotees in the form of 9 rasas, hasya, shringara, etc. So what he said is whatever Bharat Muni has given, the devotees experience those rasas, but the original rasa of all those rasas is which one? Bhakti rasa. So this is Bhakti rasa which expands into these 9. That was the first opinion in the 13th century. Vopadev became celebrated for his opinion and became so popular that after a few hundred years people started saying that Vopadev wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. You can imagine the popularity that Vopadev had. And he rearranged, like Sri Jiva Goswami rearranged Srimad Bhagavatam in the Sandarbhas. Vopadev rearranged in his Mukta Phalam the Srimad Bhagavatam, and these are his exact words that I am quoting here. And dear devotees, Vopadev became so famous, his disciple was named Hemadri Panth. His disciple is respectfully remembered by Sri Jiva Goswami in the Sandarbhas as the most respectable Hemadri Panth, because his disciple was responsible for creation of the Devanagari script. Alright, so you have seen the Devanagari script, dear devotees? Yeah? So he popularized the Devanagari script throughout India. It was a disciple of a Vaishnava, and the name of the Vaishnava was Sri Vopadev. Prabhu, kindly read the translation of his paragraph.
Bhakti Rasa is experienced by the devotees in the form of the 9 rasas: hasya, humor, shringara, romance, etc.
Dear devotees, then came the very famous commentator in the 13th century, Srila Sridhar Swami. There is a good reason why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loves him. Because amongst all the commentators of Srimad Bhagavatam, he is the first one, and he very clearly denoted bhakti as a ras. And in which verse, dear devotees? Especially in the verse in the 10th canto, where Sri Krishna enters into the arena of Kamsa, and when Sri Krishna enters the arena of Kamsa, all the members of the audience, see, it's a natya, it's a dramatic performance. Sri Krishna is the ideal actor of the drama, because Krishna is often said Nato Natya Dharo. Kunti Maharani says he is the ideal artist who performs a drama, and everyone in the audience is looking at this particular actor who is enacting a wonderful drama, and different people are able to look at him through different rasas. This is impossible for an actor, because usually people look at an actor with one rasa in their mind. For example, in the example of Bharat that I gave, who is returning back to his kingdom, what do you feel when you see such a Bharat returning back to his kingdom with tears in his eyes? Which rasa do you feel? Karuna ras, piteousness. But Shri Krishna in that arena of Kamsa was such that all rasas were demonstrated simultaneously by Shri Krishna. Srila Sridhar Swami in his commentary composes the following verse. Please repeat after me. Raudrodbhutascha Shrangaro Hasyam Virodaya Tatha Bhayanakascha Bibhatsa Shantah Saprema Bhaktikah. Raudro, the other wrestlers, they felt the anger of Shri Krishna. He is in sequence, he is giving. That verse, the sequence which the verse mentions is also mentioned here. So the wrestlers experienced Raudra. The wrestlers who saw Shri Krishna experienced one rasa, and that was anger. Then the common people experienced the second rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Wonder. And how does wonder sound? Wow. Alright, so this was experienced by people in general. And the ladies in the audience experienced the third rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Shringar. And Shringar is romance, dear devotees. And then the cowherd friends of Sri Krishna experienced the fourth rasa. And which was the fourth rasa? Hasya. And then the other gopas experienced which rasa? Veer. Chivalry. The other kings who were present experienced Veer rasa. And the parents experienced the next rasa, Daya, which is Karun rasa, which is that? Piteousness. The parents felt immense unhappiness. And Kamsa experienced the next rasa. Which rasa is that, dear devotees? Horror.
Fear.
Yeah. And the impersonalist yogis saw him all pervading like Arjun saw, So they experienced which rasa, dear devotees? Bibhatsa. And Shanta is those who were perfected amongst them, those who could understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They experienced Shanta rasa. And then there were some devotees present there, Akrura, etc. They experienced which rasa, dear devotees? Prema, Bhakti. So one person was able to give all these rasas. This is a direct admission, because he is the last term he uses is Sa Prema Bhaktika. He adds a rasa at the end. Sridhar Swami, which rasa does he add? Prema Bhakti Rasa. He adds as that, dear devotees. So this is what was experienced by all the audience, and Srila Sridhar Swami brought it out. So how many acharyas do we have in support of Bhakti Rasa? Please tell me. Who is the first one? Sri Vyasadeva. Who is the second one? Sri Vopadev. Who is the third one? Sridhar Swami. Dear devotees. Then came the Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas, Sri Kavi Karnapur in the 16th century. Although he was slightly later than Sri Rupa Goswami, but I am mentioning all the acharyas besides Sri Rupa Goswami. In the 16th century, he appeared slightly after Sri Rupa Goswami. He accepted the 9 rasas of the previous poets in his Alankar Kaustubh, but he added 3 new rasas to them. Please repeat after me the names of 3 rasas: Bhakti Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Prema Rasa. His categorization is different from Sri Rupa Goswami, because the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu was not composed at that time. So his categorization is slightly different. What is Bhakti Rasa? That general feeling of bhakti that you have. Oh, I will go to Vrindavan. Oh, I will pay my obeisances to Yamuna. Oh, I will see Sri Madan Mohan. Dear devotees, this feeling that you have, that general feeling of meeting Bhagavan, that is denoted by which rasa, dear devotees? Bhakti Rasa. And then there is Vatsalya Rasa, the feeling that Mother Yashoda had for Sri Krishna. and then there is Prema Rasa, which we nowadays call as Madhurya Rasa. So these are the three rasas that Sri Kavi Karnapur denoted in his Alankar Kaustubh. And Sri Kavi Karnapur said rasa can be of two types: Prakrita in the material world and Aprakrita. The last three one are completely Aprakrita. This Bhakti Ras, Vatsalya and Prema Ras are Aprakrita. They are belonging to the spiritual world, dear devotees. And then Sri Lokanath Goswami, dear devotees, he rejects the idea, doesn't consider material rasa as rasa at all. You can see how even within the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are not all on the same page. It's good to have a healthy disagreement. Sri Lokanath Goswami says, Prakrite rasa eva nasti. There is no rasa in material dealings. Those who see rasa in material dealings are totally bewildered. There is no possibility of experiencing true rasa in mundane men or women whose bodies are extremely fragile and are going to end up being eaten by insects, burned by fire, etc. So then Lokanath Goswami is asked, then why did Sri Kavi Karnapur, because he is commenting on Sri Kavi Karnapur's literature and he is writing against what Sri Kavi Karnapur has written. So why did Sri Kavi Karnapur accept the material rasas? So Sri Lokanath Goswami says, because he has respect for the previous poets, therefore he has accepted. Otherwise even Kavi Karnapur knows that these are not actually rasas. Actually there is only one rasa, and that is which rasa? Bhakti Ras. That's it. Because there is eternality to that rasa, and this Bhakti Rasa does not undergo the 6 transformations of the material world. What are the 6 transformations, dear devotees? Birth, existence, growth, transformation, dwindling, death. In Sanskrit, Jayate, Asti, Vardhate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Nashyati. Material rasa undergoes these 6 transformations. Bhakti rasa doesn't undergo these 6 transformations. This caught the attention also of the Adi Shankaracharya school, and they didn't want to stay behind in this topic, dear devotees. So there came a personality who's very respected, Sri Madhusudan Saraswati, in the 16th century, who accepted bhakti as the highest rasa, because by that time he had gotten access to the literature of Srila Rupa Goswami. So accepting all the rasas that Sri Rupa Goswami had accepted, but not mentioning Sri Rupa Goswami's name. It would have been nice if he would have mentioned Sri Rupa Goswami's name, but he did not mention Sri Rupa Goswami's name. But he says that bhakti is the highest of all rasas. In fact, all other rasas are completely insignificant in front of bhakti. This is the verse he composes in Bhakti Rasayanam. Paripurna Rasakshudra Rasebhyo Bhagavadratihi Khadyo Tebhya Ivaditya Prabheva Balavattara. Paripurna Rasa. Bhakti Rasa is complete in itself. It doesn't need help from any other rasa. And Khadyotebhya Ivaditya. Just as fireflies are insignificant in front of the sunshine, all material rasas are insignificant in front of Bhakti Rasa. Dear devotees, this is an individual from Sri Adi Shankaracharya school of understanding. His ultimate aim is to merge in the impersonal Brahman, but he did not want to stay behind in this entire exciting new development that was going around by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And which was that, dear devotees? Bhakti Rasa. Sri Rupa Goswami had struck at the heart of a brilliant new concept that came straight from the spiritual world and was not explored to its complete depths till now. And why would Sri Madhusudan Saraswati want to stay behind? Of course, Sri Madhusudan Saraswati was from Bengal. In his childhood, he had a desire to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had travelled to Navadvip to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By that time, Mahaprabhu had gone to Jagannath Puri. He could not meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood. Returning back to Kashi, Varanasi, he got trained in the impersonal school of thought. But impressions from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's school of thought were present in his heart, and it came out in his literature, Bhagavad Bhakti Rasayanam. So he is that impersonalist who has deep respect for bhakti. There are 2 categories of impersonalists. One who disregard bhakti, what Sri Brahma says, those who fall down. And The second category is those who have immense respect for bhakti, and Sri Madhusudan Saraswati belongs to that category. No wonder Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary to Bhagavad Gita quotes Sri Madhusudan Saraswati many times and refers to his name as Sri Madhusudan Saraswati Padaha, the respected Sri Madhusudan Saraswati. This is how Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur refers to Sri Madhusudan Saraswati. Although he is an impersonalist, ultimately his aim is to merge in the impersonal Brahman, but very respectable because he described bhakti as a rasa, and this is an entry point for Bhakti Rasa in the Advaita Sampradaya. I hope you are able to understand. This is an entry point for Bhakti Rasa in the Sampradaya of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. So henceforth it became normalized. Yeah, Bhakti is a rasa, dear devotees. And you can't believe what happened after that. After Sri Rupa Goswami wrote his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, 2 centuries later, devotees started saying something. Why should Krishna have all the 5 rasas? Bhagwan Ram should also have all the 5 rasas. So many attempts were made, dear devotees, to bring all the 5 rasas to the worship of which deity? Sri Ram. But dear devotees, we should always remember the original genius of all of that was our Srila Rupa Goswami. It was he who brought this wonderful concept, because Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. He understood what was in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he established that on planet Earth. He didn't keep it to himself, he established it on planet Earth. Dear devotees, therefore Sri Rupa Goswami in the 15th century gave a complete understanding of bhakti by first and foremost defining bhakti in the most complete manner. And what is the most complete definition of bhakti, dear devotees? Are you are all followers of? Please say. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. This definition cannot be improved upon, and nobody has even tried to improve upon it. There is no other definition besides this which covers all aspects of bhakti. So a complete definition of bhakti was given. He explained bhakti as a sadhana, as a practice, and bhakti also as a rasa, as the goal, dear devotees. The final goal is bhakti rasa, and 5 primary bhakti rasas. What are the 5 primary ones, dear devotees? Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. And 7 secondary rasas were given: Hasya, Veera, Adbhuta, Karuna, Bibhatsa, Raudra, Bhayanak. So 7 secondary rasas were given, and these rasas were further explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, his own nephew, in his magnum opus, the 6 Sandarbhas, especially the final Sandarbha, which is Sri Priti Sandarbha, where Sri Jiva Goswami says the Priti is the highest goal of life. And what is Priti? Bhagavat Prem, which is experience. How do you experience Priti? What is the substance that is used in experiencing Priti? Ras. And which ras, dear devotees? Bhakti ras. This is the only rasa which is worthy of relishing. Other rasas are extremely insignificant in front of it. Next time maybe I'll show a verse where Sri Jiva Goswami compares all the romantic novels of the material world to Sri Sri Radha Krishna Leela. I'll also show such a verse. There exists such a verse in Gopal Champu. But this is what Sri Rupa Goswami has given to us. And then Sri Rupa Goswami is saying something. I'd like to repeat this verse, dear devotees. Please repeat after me. Bhakti Rasasya Prastute, Bhakti Rasasya Prastute, Bhakti Rasasya Prastute, Bhakti Rasasya Prastute, Akhila Jagan Mangala Prasangasya, Akhila Jagan Mangala Prasangasya, Akhila Jagan Mangala Prasangasya, Akhila Jagan Mangala Prasangasya, Agyenapi Mayasya, Agyenapi Mayasya, Agyenapi Mayasya, Agyenapi Mayasya, Kriyate Surdam Pramodaya, Kriyate Surdam Pramodaya, Kriyate Surdam Pramodaya, Kriyate Surdam Pramodaya. Bhakti Rasasya Prastutir. This presentation of Bhakti Rasa, dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami wants to say you cannot imagine how much struggle has gone behind this. but I am still presenting these most auspicious narrations of Sri Krishna, these descriptions of Bhakti Rasa, although I may be agya, ignorant. Dear devotees, what does agya mean? One who knows Sri Krishna, dear devotees. Although I am agya, in his humility he says, although I am ignorant, but I am creating Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu for all of you who are near and dear to my heart. Will you accept Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, dear devotees? So this is what is the purpose of this literature. A lot of struggle through the centuries has gone behind. Sri Jiva Goswami says in the commentary, Anukule pratikule cha pandite samadhane mama na shakti. I have no capacity to harmonize those learned people who are against Bhakti Ras and those who are for Bhakti Ras. Imagine Sri Jiva Goswami making a statement like this. I don't have the capacity to bring all of them on the same page because some of them will never agree that Bhakti is a Ras. But those who have experienced it once will understand that Bhakti is the original Ras. It is a matter of experience. It cannot be understood simply by logic and argument. It is a matter of experience, dear devotees. So I'd like to pause my words at this point of time. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit vidvam saha purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit. If there's anything mistaken in what I spoke, vidvam saha, you are learned devotees, purayantu tat. Please correct any mistakes. But yadatra saushthavam kinchit, if anything was nice, please remember tad guroreva. It all belongs to my Gurujanas, me nahi. Nothing belongs to me. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. So Maharaj, we have time for Q&A?
Yes.
All right. So anybody would like to ask? Yeah. Brajnath Prabhu and then Mother Purnamasi and then Maharaj also. Maharaj, would you like to ask first? Sure. Let's give Maharaj the first chance to speak.
Thank you very much in this for taking us on this journey through understanding throughout the centuries, through many scholars, the idea of rasa. And yes, I think we all can acknowledge it is not happiness, but it is rasa ultimately, which we are craving for, because even happiness turns after some time into the opposite. I just have a very technical question. Sridhar Swami wrote this very he zoomed into Krishna entering this huge wrestling arena and commented how these different individuals experience different rasas with one person, with Krishna. Would you be so kind to just give me, give that slide where Sridhar Swami identifies the various rasas? Yes, and can I perhaps request Krishna to just make a snapshot of that, because I like this verse very much, the Bhagavatam verse, and it's very, very enlightening to hear Sridhar Swami's commentary on this. But yes, I only wanted to see that verse later. Thank you very much. I have no question at this moment, only I want to really say in our life we are really going through various experiences, and it is important to know what we are searching for, so that we can open the jackfruit of material life and get to the essence there. Very nice. I'm looking forward to hear I think there's 3 presentations on this subject.
Yeah.
Yes, I have no other comment than we say in Germany, you hit the nail on the head in finding this subject. It's an important subject.
Thank you, Maharaj. Right. Prajnath Prabhu.
Yeah, this was the wow katha. So nice how you presented it. Very helpful. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. My just mentioning the Mimamsak cannot appreciate us. Can we define it a little bit more, like those who are just too much attached to mundane logic and argument, whose hearts have been dried out?
Yeah. So how do we define Mimamsaka? Because Sri Rupa Goswami used that term in his... Mimamsaka usually refers to a follower of the school of Purva Mimamsa, follower of the school of Jaimini Rishi. And they are Vedavadis. Vedavadis means for them, Vedic sacrifices and going to Swarga is the ultimate goal of life. And since there is nothing higher than that, obviously they will not consider Bhakti as a rasa. They cannot consider. Another meaning of Mimamsaka is a hair splitter, somebody who loves to split hairs. That is the meaning of Mimamsaka, which is more appropriate here. Because Sri Rupa Goswami knows not only from the school of Jaimini but also from the other schools of poetics. People will come and try to attack the concept of Bhakti Rasa. So all of them have been grouped together in one term, Mimamsaka. Those who like to split hairs over, small issues, and those who would not like to see other people live happily. So that is whom you can call Mimamsaka. The best one amongst those are grammarians, because grammarians are compared to Vaiyakarana Kirata. They are compared to hunters who hunt, all other disciplines, Ayurveda, Nyaya, Mimamsa, everything you may say, everything, you may be a big expert, but in order to express yourself, you have to use Sanskrit, and you make one mistake in a single term and the grammarian will come out with his arrow. So therefore in the Western world it's called grammar Nazi, as you call them, grammar Nazi. So the highest Mimamsak is grammar Nazi, Yeah. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is one term used, Vishrama Mandirataya Tasya. In the beginning there is a verse, Vishrama Mandirataya. What is the meaning of Vishram, dear devotees? Rest. According to Sanskrit grammar, Vishram is not a term that can be formed by Panini's sutras. Vishram is a questionable term. So there are Mimamsakas who have written by Sri Rupa Goswami, why is he writing Vishram? Should be Vishram, not Vishram. For half a syllable, they can take you to task. So, and then there are people who defend Sri Rupa Goswami for using Vishram instead of using Vishram. So that is going to go on forever. And there is no end to that. But there is a Sanskrit verse that Kavyaswadana kale tu shabdotpatti vicharaka nivi bandhana velayam vastra mulya vichintaka. That when people, while relishing poetry, those who start looking for grammatical faults, it's just like when a lover and beloved, they meet each other after a long time, and instead of asking each other, how are you? Where did you get this cloth? How much does it cost? You can compare it to that situation, dear devotees. So these are Mimamsakas. You can try to understand. They love to argue. And you might have seen many such people around you. They love to argue just because they want to have their prestige established as someone who knew everything about everything. So that is who Mimamsakas are. Right?
And also, like, due to too much renunciation, their heart.
Yeah, that renunciation aspect will come out in the next few parts. Who is ineligible for experiencing Bhakti Ras, especially Madhurya Ras. and that will be the renunciate. But by renunciate, please don't think that somebody who wears saffron, alright? So we will discuss who is that person who is ineligible for relishing Bhakti Ras, but I have kept that for a future presentation. Alright, thank you. Yeah, Purnamasi Mataji.
Thank you for the presentation. I would like to just comment how amazing it is that over the centuries they were so much involved in this topic, and now in this world of books and newspapers and everything, there was so much on this topic of rasa. And please, can you tell us, I heard the number of 18 years when Srila Rupa Goswami was writing Bhakti Rasa. Do we know? And there also maybe to explain, because now we know the struggle he went, like this, which you present, and also the other struggles that you will just shortly.
Yes, Sri Rupa Goswami, the final edition of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu he wrote was after Sri Jiva Goswami came back to Vrindavan. So although the ideas were already there, but a proper shape was not given until he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's only after he renounced his work and went to Prayagraj and met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him to put it in a particular organized format. There is a commentary, previously Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami used to relish the Srimad Bhagavatam, and then they would also relish poetry. There is a commentary of Sri Sanatana Goswami on Meghdut of Kalidas. There is a rare commentary of Sri Sanatana Goswami on the Meghdut of Kalidas. So it is very clearly known that they had relished not only Srimad Bhagavatam but also poetics in general. But Sri Rupa Goswami's heart was always having the idea, the seed of Bhakti Ras, but it was fully developed when he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and got all the details from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including the definition of Uttama Bhakti. And then in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the final edition that was compiled in Sri Vrindavan was when Sri Jiva Goswami had come back. Sri Jiva Goswami used to sit next to him, fan him while he was composing. Sri Jiva Goswami asked all the questions, and Sri Jiva Goswami made his notes right in front of Sri Rupa Goswami. So that is the final edition. But the ideas were already there previously since his youth. And other challenges were India was under severe Mughal rule. There was a prize on the head of every sadhu. If you could bring the severed head of a sadhu, you will get 2 gold coins. So there was no hope of becoming a published author and publishing thousands and thousands of copies. And there was no hope that whether the manuscript will survive for another 200 years or not. But Bhagwan's mercy, it survived, and we have it today. That is Mahaprabhu's unconditional mercy, we have it with us today. But originally it was written under Kadamba tree in Sri Vrindavan with no hopes of becoming a published author in his entire lifetime. That is when Sri Rupa. Therefore he says, I am writing for my near and dear ones. So the immediate Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And by extension we also are Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We are supposed to understand the value of what Sri Rupa Goswami went through. So I hope that answers the query. Yeah. We'll come to you, Mataji. Vaijayanti Mataji. Yeah.
Hi, Krishna. Thank you for the presentation. Today you were speaking about the culture of extracting rasa, and yesterday you were also reading these words about that we can get Baba in our heart from someone else. So if you could a little bit explain how to retain Baba or rasa in our heart for a longer time.
You don't have to do anything to retain it. Once you are touched by it, the first touch will transform you. Like the lion tastes blood for the first time, then you don't have to do anything else separately. There is a verse in the Bhagavatam which specifies this, and I will pull out that verse. Please repeat the last line. Vihatum ichen rasagraho jana. So you can see rasa also is mentioned here. Vihatum ichen, you can see in the word for word. Willing to give up. He never desires to give up. But one who has relished the mellow, a person who has relished even once will never desire to give it up. Srila Prabhupada in the translation says, because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord, the Sanskrit term is rasa. A person who has once tasted rasa can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. So you won't have to do anything else. Once you have tasted it, like a lion tastes blood for the first time, then the lion doesn't have to ask, what do I need to do? Everything else will come automatically. But once the experience has to happen once, and rasa has to touch your heart once. Sri Madhusudan Saraswati, whom I quoted in the Bhagavad Bhakti Rasayanam, says, the heart can be compared to an ornament of lac, L-A-C, lac. And Bhakti Rasa is the warmth that melts it in different places. So once the heart is melted in certain places by Bhakti Rasa, it will no longer be the same. And then you will hanker for that experience again and again. This verse is the proof. 1.5.19. Vihatumichenna rasa graho. One who has accepted rasa, tasted rasa, will never desire to give it up. But the only challenge is the first genuine experience of Bhakti Rasa. And that is the purpose of all the sadhan bhakti. Sometimes we have bhav abhas. We experience bhav, and that too a shadow of bhav. Somebody gives a lecture and then we feel like crying, and suddenly, tears come out of our eyes. And then we go home and then everything is back to normal. So that is what you call bhav abhas. But an actual experience of rasa will be such that you will not be able to give up thinking about Bhagavan again and again. So there will be nothing separately required when that happens. Alright? Thank you. Yeah. Mataji, here please.
Bhakti Rasa. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So I'm having a question pertaining the experience of material rasa. So you were saying that the experience of rasa in this world is devoid of material contact. But I don't understand, because my understanding is that the Tatastha Shakti, or the Jiva coming from the Tatastha in the material world, can only experience Jada Ananda, so material Ananda. So what is that experience made of?
So you are saying that the living entity in the material world can only experience material happiness. But rasa is that supramundane happiness which is devoid of any material contact. That is what the previous poets have said. The previous poets will defend themselves by quoting Upanishads. And let me see if it is there. Please, 11.339. Please repeat. Sukham aham asvapsam na kinched avedisham. In the deep sleep state, suppose somebody worked very hard for the entire day, fully tired, each limb in the body is breaking, and they go to sleep. And when they go to sleep, they don't feel not even a single dream comes to them. They sleep throughout the night. They sleep for 10 hours. Now while they are sleeping, what happiness are they experiencing?
A Brahman-like experience.
Wonderful. The jiva is in the material world experiencing the feeling of merging in the impersonal Brahman.
A vague experience of the spirit soul.
Yeah. So only after waking up does the living entity say, Sukham aham asvapsam. I slept so happily. But how do you know you slept happily? Because you were completely unconscious at that time. Because the after effects are seen in me, in my mind. When I have woken up, I feel so joyous and refreshed. Which means that I must have undergone constant happiness while I was sleeping. Now what is that? The happiness of having all the internal and external faculties merged with the Paramatma, Super Soul, is what Sushupti is. In deep sleep, it merges with the Paramatma in the heart. At the time of destruction, it merges with the ultimate Paramatma of the universe. In both cases, when the Jiva merges with the Paramatma, there is a joy that is experienced by the Jiva that the Jiva cannot describe while it is merged. And that joy is here. Sukham aham asvapsam na kinchid avedisham. So they will say, see, I am speaking from their side, alright? I have to speak from both sides because, so they will say that even in the material world, it is not all Jad Ananda. Although Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Mahasaya and other Acharyas might have said that in the material world, the living entity experiences material happiness. In a general sense, he might have said, while the creation is going on. But during destruction, the living entity experiences another kind of happiness. So that is the answer to the question. So even during deep sleep, you experience some happiness. But even greater than that is the happiness of experiencing rasa. It completely switches you off from all the other contact of the material world. And then you feel one with the person, the actor on the stage with whom you are identifying. And then that feeling of catharsis overtakes you and washes your entire existence with bliss. And that is what you call wow. The final experience is wow. So that is. So therefore, those who have had a good culture of watching drama in their childhood will remember. How many of us have watched drama? Not movies, dramas. Please raise your hands. So watching dramas and movies is different because in a drama, the seats which are nearer to the stage cost more. And in a movie, the seats which are further away cost more. Only. Because a movie is a dead medium, you know that there is nobody acting it out live. So the most important thing is to preserve the culture of drama, theatre, and you can easily experience many rasas there. Especially Adbhuta, wonder, you can experience in many times you can experience. Alright? So I hope that answers your query. Alright? Thank you. Yeah. We'll go behind. Prabhu, Gaurari Prabhu, you have to tell me when to stop.
I think we have to see that we go through the festival as a marathon,
Yeah.
Not like a sprint.
Yeah. So yeah. So last question, or should we? All right, last question. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you for your wonderful lecture. It's very nice. And my question is about the everlasting effect of rasa. So we always want this taste of rasa, right? And so why do impersonalists want to dissolve in eternal Brahman? And there won't be any Atma who will experience this rasa. So what is the thought behind this?
Why do impersonalists want to dissolve everything and merge into the impersonal Brahman? Because that is Shanta Rasa, and they consider Shanta to be the highest rasa amongst all of them.
But if there is no Atma who's feeling this rasa, so where is the experience of rasa?
As a Vaishnava, you are saying there is no Atma. You look from their point of view, you have already become Brahma. Why do you need to be an Atma? See, we sometimes ask questions from the Vaishnava point of view. In my childhood, I was schooled by an impersonalist. My grammar teacher was an impersonalist. So I saw also from their point of view. If you're already Brahma, you're everywhere. Why have a limited experience in a limited place, in a limited body, subject to limitations, when you can be everywhere and experience Shantaras in its fullest? See, no answer. So welcome to Sri Adi Shankaracharya School of Thought. Of course, there is an answer to that, but the answer to that is that those who wish to merge into Brahman, become Brahman, they have not made a very intelligent choice. Because the choice they have made is that they wish to be the enjoyer of Shantaras, and it is foolishness to try and become the enjoyer in your ultimate destination. It is big foolishness to try and become an enjoyer in your ultimate destination, because there already is an enjoyer, that is Bhagwan, and ask Bhagwan if he is truly happy. You should ask Bhagwan, are you happy?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Bhagwan is also not fully satisfied with being Bhagwan himself all the time. Eko ham bahusyam prajayayam. Vedas say, alone I am, let me become many. Why you are not happy alone? There is no happiness in being alone, dear devotees. So those who select the happiness of becoming Brahma or becoming Bhagavan, it is not a very intelligent choice to make. Alright, so I'll pause here. Thank you very much, dear devotees. We'll resume at what time, Prabhu? Yeah, please make the announcement here.
Thank you so much, Hari.